I think the hardest part about chasing a dream isn't failing, it is not knowing if you've already failed. I suppose the strange thing about uncertainty is you never really know what's coming next, but somehow you still have to prepare for it. Which is why I think that packing is quite funny because you spend so much time trying to decide what version of your life is worth carrying on this journey, however long it may be. This goes this too. This. I'm generally an optimistic person, almost annoyingly optimistic. Most of the time, I convince myself things will work out somehow, and surprisingly, they usually do. So I'm not really used to sitting with the possibility that something I've worked hard for might simply not work. Not because I suddenly stopped believing in myself, but because sometimes reality starts to tell a different story. And that's a much harder thing to argue with. Because optimism is easy when everything is moving in the direction you expected. It's a lot harder when you're looking at the same thing you've been building for years and wondering if you're the only person who still believes in these dry bones. A little over a year ago, I left a job that some would consider a dream job. I never was cut out for the 9-to-5 life, and so I always knew that my days at the office were numbered. However, I didn't leave because I had some other opportunity elsewhere. Matter of fact, leaving was the one thing nobody would have advised me to do. But I wanted to be able to make the kind of films I loved, and being devoted to an office routine wasn't going to let me do that. So I left. And I had a solid plan, or at least I thought I did. This is episode 3 of a series where I attempt to learn a new profession to find out what it truly takes to be a pro. I started the series I had spent 5 years dreaming of, and I called it The Roll Call. In every episode, I tried a different job to experience what it's like for those who do those jobs every day. But 6 episodes later, I ran out of money. Some episodes had to stop halfway through simply because I couldn't afford to keep filming them. And this is the part of the story people don't really talk about. A lot of people tell the story after it works because it's much harder to tell it while you're still living in the uncertainty. Lately, I've been asking myself something over and over. What if this doesn't work out? What if after all this effort and dedication and trust in the process, this doesn't work out? And I think that's the part that scares me the most. Not necessarily failing, but wasting time. Because if something fails, eventually you can call it a failure and move on. But how do you know when to let go of something that just won't work? How long do you keep trying? A year? 5? 10? At what point does persistence become blind stubbornness? See, it's easy to say that we should always think positive and have faith in ourselves, but history is full of people who believed in things that never worked. Businesses, films, companies, entire careers. So I know that faith doesn't guarantee anything. But that's the thing I like about traveling. When you're on the move, you're allowed to simply be on your way. Nobody expects you to have the whole journey figured out before you leave. And maybe our dreams deserve that same grace. I don't know if this video will change anything.
Actually, probably once. But neither did filming the first episode, or the second, or the third.
And maybe that's what most of this has actually been. Doing something before I know if it works. Packing without knowing how long the trip would last. Filming before I know if anyone's watching. But one story I'm reminded of by this is when Jesus tells Peter to cast his nets one more time. Tossing and turning until I awoke. The strange part isn't that he caught fish. It's that Peter had already done everything he knew to do. He'd worked all night, tried every strategy, and caught nothing. But it took one more attempt in obedience to change the entire story of the night.
There are 2 exits at the rear of the aircraft, 2 exits on the wings, 2 exits before the wings, and 2 exits in front of the aircraft. Take a moment now to locate your nearest exit, and please allow the behind you.
I love to stay. I don't feel like going home.
So sometimes faith isn't believing you'll succeed. Sometimes it's having the courage to throw the net one more time even when the evidence says you're wasting your time. And this film, every film I make now, is me throwing my net out.